0592. Just like that.
Hey, Larry Elder here. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt and KHNC.
Good morning, guys. Bucky Dillon here. This is the Bucky Dillon Morning Show, our morning show, a collaborative between myself and the free-thinking, free-spirited, freedom-loving, free speech advocating patriot community right here in northern Colorado, tuning into the radio broadcast 1360 AM KHNC. You can tune in anywhere in the world, 1360khnc.com, where we also sell the best price you can get CBD products, 100% local from start to finish to shipment to you. We actually get a better deal from My Kind CBD than they sell their own products. You literally cannot get a better deal. We have a great transaction record with the bank, so we were able to get a discounted, privileged discount on the credit card charges when you order from us, and we are able to give you those savings. Guys, 1360khnc.com/shop if you're dealing with insomnia, muscle ache, joint ache, anxiety, heartache, watching Joe Biden sign counterproductive executive orders one after another, drooling on the paper with his eyes glazed over, setting his pen down and forgetting where he put it, and then having to get a new one 5 seconds later. If that doesn't get you a little bit anxious, good for you. But I don't think you're paying attention, because that should make you anxious. Guys, it is a great day, and I'm so happy to be here with you this morning. As usual, I am the morning host every day on KHNC from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. You can catch the live stream, youtube.com/Liberty Revolt, where I always pay attention to the live chat and respond to comments in real time. So if you want to join me on the show, but you don't necessarily want to call in, you can. But you're absolutely welcome to call in. That number is 970-660-1722. Call in anytime. Today, what I'm talking about is our media infrastructure in the United States. Now, there are two entities that are less popular than AIDS, less popular than COVID-19, less popular than cancer. And that is the cabal of all three put together in a little consortium I like to call Congress and the United States media. So, over the course of the last 40 years, giant corporations and billionaires have been systematically monopolizing our media infrastructure. We're at a point now where 15 billionaires and 6 corporations own the media. And that's just one part of it. That doesn't even take account of all of the lobbying that is done to gain influence over our media. And that's only our political news media. That's not even talking about big tech and Hollywood. To put things in perspective of why that's an issue, there's a study done where they found 45% of Americans got all of their political news from Facebook. That's part of the reason why this censorship stuff is so scary. And it should be scary for people on the left, too. Now, I personally think that it's going to backfire on the left, and here's why. Because they need level-headed conservatives balancing out the scale. They're already something like 6 times more likely to block someone who has different political opinion than themselves, than conservatives are. Right? We already live in a situation to where it's so easy to live in a left-wing echo chamber unless you have conservative parents. A lot of young people can go their entire young life without ever hearing a conservative argument. Think about it. If Hollywood is dominated by the left, if mainstream music is dominated by left-wing ideology, if their teachers and the curriculum at their school is dominated by left-wing ideology, if all of these put together don't spell a recipe for disaster, then it's a miracle. But they do. And this is why I think it's going to backfire. Because they're going to get incredibly radical. And any moderate centrist person is going to see this happening in real time. And this is something I've been saying for a little bit. Part of the reason why the censorship has been backfiring and why we have seen kind of a resurgence of conservative thinking the last handful of years, I'd say, is because of the censorship. Why? Well, think about it this way. If they're censoring out, you're an independent person watching, getting your political content from Facebook, and what you're seeing is only the mainstream conservatives, because the fringy conservatives have been banned from the platform. But on the left, all of the radicals are left to freely operate. Then what do you see? You see tie-wearing, sharp, articulate conservatives putting out a very reasonable perspective, and Looney Tune Antifa Black Lives Matter leftists.
This is Sam Shook, Navy vet and Medicare specialist. I just want to thank the KHNC listeners for their support and trust in me as their Medicare specialist. If you are currently on Plan F, we are in a window of opportunity that can save you a lot of money towards your monthly premium. Please contact me at 970-413-4939. If you are getting into Medicare soon or are already enrolled and have questions, please call me at 970-413-4939. Again, thanks, KHNC listeners.
Hi, KHNC listeners. Jerry Axon with Sears Real Estate. Please keep me in mind when you are ready to buy or sell, or if you have real estate questions. Another option is the lease with option to buy. The lease program is set up with a year-to-year lease and guarantees a fixed rent and purchase price for 5 years. Jerry Axon, 970-576-1089, 576-1089. Jerry at SearsRealEstate.com.
Hey, it's Larry Elder. Thank you for listening to me every weekday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on 1360 KHNC, the roar of the Rockies. Do you own a business in northern Colorado or surrounding areas? Are you looking to reach a conservative, family-based, loyal audience which could grow your business? Well, take my advice and just call 970-587-5003 or email on the air at 1360khnc.com and tell them Larry sent you.
COVID has stopped Triangle Cross Ranch from conducting any fundraisers since March of 2020. Current state government issues has stopped our ability to have fundraisers until March 2021. We need financial donations to get through the rest of the year. Any financial support is welcome, or just send $1 US silver dollar a month to support our Christian mission. Triangle Cross Ranch, 36049 County Road 51, P.O. Box 727, Gailton, Colorado, 80622.
The Bucky Dillon Show is a Liberty Revolt Media production. www.libertyrevoltmedia.com.
So, media influence is becoming more and more consolidated in the hands of the wealthy and powerful. In fact, we see billionaires routinely buying up newspapers and media outlets. National Amusements is owned by Sumner Redstone, whose net worth is $4.6 billion. His media assets are AXS TV, BET, BET Gospel, BET Jams, and all of the other Black entertainment television sub companies. He owns CBS. He owns CBS Films. He owns CBS Sports. He owns CBS News. He owns CBS Television Distribution. He owns Showcase. He owns Centric. He owns Insurge. He owns Comedy Central. He owns CMT. He owns Epix. He owns MTV. He owns MTV2. He owns MTV Live. He owns MTV Films. He owns Paramount. He owns Nickelodeon, Nick Music, Nicktoons, Nick at Night, Nick Jr., Showcase. He owns Showtime. He owns Viacom. He owns TV Land. He owns VH1. Right? This is just a small amount. He owns CBS Games, the video game company. He owns Pocketbooks. He owns two other print companies. On the internet, he owns CBS Interactive, GameSpot. He owns TV Guide. He owns GameFAQs. Disney, owned by Bob Iger, $44.9 million. He owns A&E Networks, A&E Studios. He owns Disney. He owns ABC. He owns ABC Television Group, ABC Family, ABC News, ABC Studios, ABC Spark. He owns the Disney Channel. He owns Disney Junior. He owns Disney XD. He owns ESPN, ESPN Classic, ESPN2, ESPN3, ESPN, all the other ESPNs, ABC 7, Disney plus ABC, domestic television. He owns the History Channel. He owns Marvel. He owns Lucasfilm. He owns Military History. He owns Vice. He owns Walt Disney Studios. He owns Lifetime Movie Club. He owns GameStar, the video game company, and Rocky Pack. In print, he owns Icon, Disney Publishing, Ultimate Comics, Marvel Comics, Lucas Books, Cross-Gen Entertainment, Core Entertainment, Hyperion, Time Warner CEO, Jeff Bukes, $32.5 million annual salary. These are annual salaries, by the way. Bob Iger makes $45 million a year. And that's just, on the up and up, right? Jeff Box of Time Warner. He owns Accent Health, Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, CNN. The same guy that owns CNN owns Cartoon Network, right? The Warner Brothers, True TV, New Line Cinema, HBO Max, the Looney Tunes, Family, Warner Brothers Entertainment, Williams Street, all the other William Brothers things. In print, he owns DC, Time Magazine, Adaptive, TLV. In his investments, he's got a ton of investments here. Get Glue, Gaia, Dynamic Signal, Conviva, Glue, Visible World, Skystream, Planet Out Incorporated. He owns Watchtower Music. He owns Time Warner Cable. He owns Rocksteady Games, Warner Brother Games, and let's see, Monolith Games, a handful of other video game companies. Comcast, CEO Brian L. Roberts. His annual salary is $40.8 million. He owns Ally Sports, CNBC, CNBC World, Bravo, Chiller, Everything Entertainment, Focus World, Hulu, MSNBC, NHL Network, the Sci-Fi Channel, Universal Studios, the Weather Channel. The same guy who owns MSNBC and CNBC owns the Sci-Fi Channel, owns Universal Studios, owns the Weather Channel. He owns Comcast Infinity. He's also got a long list of ventures. For Info, About.com, Bel Air Networks. Dollar industry. Sony, a 34. The Sony's the little guy. $34.1 billion industry. Right. Michael Bloomberg. He owns Bloomberg LP and Bloomberg Media. The richest billionaire in media business returns to his Eponymous media company in September 14th. 8 months after stepping down as mayor of New York City. One notable sign of his influence on the publication, Michael Bloomberg, doesn't appear on Bloomberg's Billionaires Index. Forbes pegs his net worth at $45.7 billion. The Cox family, Atlanta Journal. Cox Enterprises, owned by billionaire Cox family, counts the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and a number of other daily papers among its media investments. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. John Henry, the Boston Globe. Sheldon Adelson, the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Joe Mansueta, Incorporated and Fast Company magazines. Morningstar. Mortimer Zuckerman, U.S. News and World Report, New York Daily News. The Barbie family owns the Village Voice. The Stanley Hubbard owns Hubbard Broadcasting. Patrick Soon-Shiung, Tribute Publishing Company. Carlos Slim Helú owns the New York Times. He's a billionaire. Warren Buffett, Regional Daily Papers. Warren Buffett has invested in a number of small newspapers and owns 70 dailies today. In 2012, Berkshire Hathaway acquired 63 daily newspapers and weeklies in Virginia. Victor Vekselberg owns Gawker. But it's not just that these wealthy billionaires own so much. Have you ever heard of Operation Mockingbird? How the CIA is involved in media manipulation? Operation Mockingbird was a CIA program that enlisted more than 400 American journalists as well as journalists around the world to manipulate public opinion by spreading propaganda, or what we call it today, fake news. In an era of fake news and revelations of Facebook sharing user information to outside sources in an apparent attempt to influence voters for elections, the veracity of what we see in the media is more crucial than ever. However, it is far from a new phenomenon, as the CIA's Operation Mockingbird spent years planting fake news stories in an effort to sway public opinion. Documents expose how U.S. government uses Hollywood to promote and propagandize. A vast swath of documents revealing the extent of U.S. government influence in Hollywood, including editing scripts and blocking critical movies from ever being made, have been unearthed, indicating U.S. officials have covertly helped produce at least 800 major movies and 1,000 television shows since 1910. The files were uncovered by Tom Secker, an independent researcher, and Dr. Matthew Alford, a teaching fellow at the University of Bath. After diligent trawling over 4,000 U.S. military and intelligence documents obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, they formed the basis of the duo's book, National Security Cinema. Among the trove are office diary reports from assorted military entertainment liaison offices, documents from the Department of Defense and Central Intelligence Agency on changes made to film scripts, production assistance agreements signed between military officials and film producers, and internal government communications about the entertainment industry. It may not be entirely surprising that the United States government seeks to influence films and TV. After all, the power of the media to shape public perceptions of major contemporary issues and historical events is well documented, and it's no secret the U.S. government agencies operate entertainment liaison offices, connecting entertainment industry professional with department officials. The deep state and the CIA have controlled U.S. media and Hollywood for decades. But is it just our intelligence agencies? No. Despite the Chinese Communist Party's record of oppression, corporate media outlets are parroting the authoritarian government's propaganda. Even in the midst of an outbreak, the CCP worsened through a cover-up. Guys, we have to take media back. That's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm working towards. You can support the station. You can support me. Support our advertisers. Email me, Bucky Dillon at khnc.net. Join me on the air.
This is Larry Jagger, the host of the SCL Mortgage Show. SCL has a loan program for just about every residential need. Listen and learn what that means to you on Saturday at 12 noon on KHNC 1360. NMLS number 1200716.
1360 KHNC is proud to announce our partnership with My Kind CBD, a local Colorado-based company that uses no pesticides, no herbicides, completely organic, no heavy metals. All their products are CAO certified. That's right, independently lab certified. Our prices are the best in the country. Go out to 1360khnc.com and hit the shopping cart button and make your purchase today.
Is the driveway made of fruit leather, or has the apple stopped appling? If your half of a 100-foot cottonwood tree just needs a haircut, call Affordable Tree Service North at 970-568-6898. We have saved many trees everyone else said was dead. Show offs. Hey, you're not in this one either. From fire mitigation, bushes, trees to bees, that's 568-6898. God bless us.
Hi, folks. I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I know it must seem like there's a million realtors out there making all kinds of promises. Want to hear my big marketing promise? I promise honest and fair dealings with all those I do business with. That may sound old-fashioned, and it is not very catchy, but it is true. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Farm, land, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings. When you work with my team, we'll get the right property for you and be upfront and honest with you every step of the way. Over the years, my clients have told me just that fact alone separates us from others in the industry. If you are considering buying or selling real estate, call me, James Morgan, at 720-203-0731 or visit my website at coloradoproperties.online. No catchy slogan, just a client-first, honest real estate experience. Hit it, girls.
Keep listening to the American Freedom Network.
Reasons to own gold. Reason number 1.
Culturally, the golden rule is treating others as you want to be treated. But financially, the golden rule is those that have the gold make the rules. When you retire, make sure you can write your rules. Call the Patriot Trading Group at 800-951-0592 or visit our website at allamericangold.com.
Join me on Open Forum Thursdays, 11 to 1. World hegemony, new currencies, global societies, weather warfare, environmental agendas. Again, Thursday, 11 to 1, 1360 KHNC, Rick Rodriguez.
欢迎收听 KHNC 广播电台 Bucky Dillon 早安秀，大家的早安广播，谢谢。
Messaging is where politics are won. China knows this. The left knows this. The right hasn't seemed to get it figured out. It's a miracle that the right ever wins anything. And after Joe Biden and his Wall Street and big tech administration and wild-eyed socialist progressive backing, his Looney Tunes, Fruit Looped out of their mind, AOC Congress has their way with him, which they will. We all saw the way he's signing those executive orders. Drooling on the paper. And there's a lot of things that they could do to consolidate power. Liberty-minded people have a lot of work to do if they're going to get their message out. Now, Donald Trump did an astonishing job at breaking into the Black community and the Latino community and the Asian community and the Jewish community that no other Republican has done, certainly in my lifetime, maybe twice as long as that. But with him out of office, no longer able to make good on his promises, and I'm not saying Donald Trump was our savior by any means, but I did enjoy a lot of what he did. And I think one of the most important things that he was able to accomplish was discrediting the mainstream media. Now, a lot of that work was undone by what happened on the 6th, of course. And we'll see what happens with that. But that is going to be used as a club to beat anyone to the right of Hillary Clinton for a long time. But you want to talk about election rigging? It's the media that did it, right? I think a lot more election rigging went down in the corporate boardrooms of Netflix, Facebook, Twitter, Disney, than anything that was done at the ballot box. And I'm not saying that there wasn't some malarkey there. Come on, man. I'm sure there was. We have to take back media. We have to take back the culture. I applaud the Daily Wire for coming out with a movie, Run, Hide, Fight. Pretty good movie. Definitely check that out. We have to support conservative, libertarian content creators. We have to start putting on our own concerts, coming out with our own movies, our own TV shows. Like I said, so many people don't even pay attention to politics. And fair enough, man. Politics is slimy. It's disgusting. It's a tragedy. But if they aren't paying attention to politics, where do you think they're getting their information? From Hollywood. China knows this. China's influence has reached deep into Hollywood as Beijing shapes what audiences can see. Hollywood is being used as a propaganda tool to advance China's soft power ambitions, an academic report has claimed. A recent report by human rights group PEN America claims cast, plot, dialogue, and settings in Hollywood films are being changed in an effort to avoid antagonizing Chinese officials. The report claimed, quote, "The Chinese Communist Party is increasingly shaping what global audiences see. While we are all well aware of the strict controls that China's government maintains over dissent, independent thought, and creativity within its own borders, the long arm of Chinese censorship, powered by vast economic incentives, has all to Hollywood, shaping perceptions, inculcating sensitivities, and reshaping the bounds of what can be shown, said, and told." The report gives what it claims are examples of this in World War Z and Top Gun. The PEN America, Made in Hollywood, Censored in China report claimed Paramount Studios was influenced by Beijing into changing the plot point in the film World War Z. The report claims in 2013, executives at Paramount Studios, at the behest of China, demanded that the dialogue in a scene in Brad Pitt's zombie movie, World War Z, where several characters are discussing the origins of the zombie outbreak, be changed so that the virus did not originate in China, the place that the movie's source material originally specified. The PEN report also claimed Chinese censors urged the removal of the Taiwanese flag and the Japanese flag from the Maverick's jacket in the film Top Gun, which they did. Did you know when you watched the movie Doctor Strange, the monk was supposed to be Tibetan, but because China has been cracking down on religious freedoms in Tibet. They didn't want a Tibetan monk in the movie. And China's economy has been growing so fast, and because they have 1.6 billion people, these Hollywood studios want a piece of that money. So what do? They made the Tibetan monk some like Celtic chick. Anyone who read the original Marvel comics knows that that was supposed to be a Tibetan monk, but they're not allowed to show that if they want a piece of China's money. And they do. This is one of the many reasons I keep telling people. I keep telling my friends on the left, if you care about liberal values, if you care about progressive values, you cannot hand the torch of military and economic dominance to China. You have to put America first. Donald Trump was doing far more to protect liberal values than Joe Biden's soft on China approach. Oh, a rising China is going to be good for the world. Is it? Is it really? Look at how China treats its own people. No freedom of speech. No freedom of religion. High-tech surveillance state. Look how China treats its own soldiers. There was that little border skirmish between India and China. What happened? Well, by all appearances, India won that skirmish. But India recognized its dead and held ceremonies in honor of its dead. What did China do? They hid the numbers. Well, you know what you have to do if you're going to hide the numbers. You can't honor your dead if you're going to hide the numbers to save face. So they didn't. And this has been a reoccurring problem with China's military is they don't take care of their veterans. In fact, China is so concerned about their soldiers not being loyal to the party that they installed explosive devices in the helmets of their soldiers that can be remotely detonated by their superior officers in case those soldiers don't follow through with orders. Sounds like I just set off the emergency signal. That should set off some emergency signals. If it doesn't, you're not paying attention. Incentives for studios to play nice with the Chinese regulators may help explain why some studios self-censor movies that are likely to ever make it into the Chinese theaters, such as Top Gun. Disney's Mulan was also cited in the report. Controversy was recently caused by Chinese-born American actress Liu Hefei, also known as Crystal Liu, the lead star of the 2020 Disney production Mulan. In August 2019, Liu posted in support of the Hong Kong government's crackdown on the pro-democracy movement in the city. This then led to many in Hong Kong voicing that the film should be boycotted because of the actress's political alignment. On social media, a social media campaign under the hashtag Support Mulan quickly followed. The Penn Report claimed the hashtag Support Mulan government-backed movement goes to show that even if Hollywood studios aim to make their movies as inoffensive as possible, with the definition of inoffensive being highly responsive to what Beijing declares offensive, the CCP is more than willing to impose a political agenda on these films, leveraging even unanticipated controversies as opportunities to pursue their creative propaganda while pulling studios along for the ride. Separately, the location of the filming of Mulan included the Mingxia Desert, part of which is in Xinjiang. the site of alleged re-education camps and human rights abuses, was attacked by U.S. politicians. U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn tweeted, Disney's apparent cooperation with officials from the Chinese Communist Party to film Mulan is profoundly disturbing. But it's not just that. It's not just that. China owns Hollywood studios. They outright buy it. We have 12 Chinese-owned media companies, from Dick Clark Productions to 11 more. A fire hose of Chinese investment has been flowing into Hollywood for the last few years as Middle Kingdom films have scooped up production companies and theater chains by $1 billion. And while DC has finally taken notice and is asking the government to take a closer look at foreign ownership of American content companies, Chinese firms have already accumulated a substantial portfolio of media and entertainment-related companies, often at healthy premiums. And Hollywood isn't ready to look that gift horse in the mouth. AMC Theaters is owned by China's richest man, Wang Jianlin. Carmike 10, Jurassic World, Dick Clark Productions, The Wrap, Voltage Pictures owners, Anhu Zinke, New Materials. Anhu, a copper processing company, bought an 80% stake in Voltage parent Midnight Entertainment for $351 million. STX Entertainment owner. Honey Capital, Tencent, independent distributor. STX was founded with investments from a private equity giant TPG and Chinese firm Honey Capital. The company also has a co-financing deal with China's Huawei Brothers Media, and this year secured a strategic investment from Tencent to expand into digital content, music, and virtual reality. The World Triathlon Corporation owner, Wanda, paid $650 million last year for the company. That same guy. I Am Global, Studio 8, Dichotomy Creative, Cirque du Soleil. They're all owned by China. Games owner. China owns them. Literally owns them. And we wonder why the people of this country are electing Joe Biden. Where have the conservatives been? They spend all this time talking about personal responsibility, but they've just handed the narrative over to everyone who wants to destroy them. What the left does incredibly well, messaging and activism. What the right does horrendously, messaging and activism. And it's not that I want to live in a right-wing country. I wish everybody was a swing voter. I actually see a valid place for a lot of the left's arguments. I think wealth inequality is an issue. I don't want to live in a dystopian world where a bunch of monopolies or pseudo monopolies or cooperative monopolies influence everything, where we have five billionaires and 345,995 or 999,995 poor people. And no, that's not where we're at, but it sure seems as if that's where we're going. You know, home buying is at an all-time low. We've got to turn that around. You know, China is buying up American land. I'm not kidding you. Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Ohio, farmland being bought up by China. Real estate all across the country being bought up by wealthy Chinese citizens. Why is that? Well, because in China, you can't own land. So if somebody wants to make a tremendous amount of money off real estate investment, where do they go? They buy land here in the United States. You would think that we would have some laws stopping things like that from happening. But they buy Congress too. They fund political campaigns. As far as I can tell, the international banking cartel, in cooperation with their spy network and the CIA, love China's system. The high-tech surveillance state, the top-down control. They love it. It's no wonder they're using all of the hard power, soft power, subtle influences at their disposal to dominate our country.
A personal trainer with the national and a longtime competing strongman athlete. I've recently opened a gym here in Loveland, Colorado. The address is 1339 South Garfield Avenue, right next to the Furniture and Decor store. I offer all kinds of services for athletes or people just looking to get in better shape. I coach strongman, powerlifting, general fitness and training, and I work with people with all kinds of injuries as well. I am a private gym, so if you are interested in scheduling a session, please give me a call at 970-402-1330. Once again, that's 970-402-1330. Or shoot me an email, and that's at grantperformance1@gmail.com. That's GRANT performance1@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to 1360 KHNC.
The roar of the Rockies.
1360khnc.com has CBD products. Click on the shop button and get yours today.
Just go to 1360khnc.com/shop. The CBD on our website is 99% pure, all natural, no pesticides, non-GMO, is grown organically right here in Colorado, and is 100% THC free. Oh, and did you know ours is the lowest price CBD anywhere in Northern Colorado? For all your CBD needs, just log on to 1360khnc.com/shop.
Great minds think alike. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt. Join me, Larry Elder, today at 5 on 1360 KHNC. Now back to Bucky Dillon.
I'm not just here saying, oh, China this, China that. What I'm trying to do is essentially a call for action. Take some responsibility for your country. Take some responsibility for the narratives in your country. That's why I got involved in this in the first place. I looked at the left and I saw that they had a ground game. I didn't like their policies, but I can respect the fact they have a ground game. How do you know they got a ground game? Because you can see the buildings on fire. Because they dominate every institution. And why is that? Because the BLM activists are the only one that show up to the teachers' conference and push their inclusivity and diversity, alt-racist agenda. The libertarians don't show up. If a single libertarian showed up and said, you know what, I think this is a bunch of racist crap. I think this is a bunch of divisive, anti-American BS that does nothing but manufacture resent for our country. Maybe the BLM activists wouldn't dominate every institution, wouldn't dominate your child's education. And we can take it back. You know, I actually think the universities are set to collapse. I think that online education is going to become much, much more popular. And I think that there are entities that are working towards developing online universities at a rapid pace. And that's going to drastically decentralize the control that these Marxists have on the education system. And I think that's going to be for the better. And I look forward to that. There's no reason why a lot of these curriculums couldn't be taught online. Psychology doesn't require you to be physically in the room to learn psychology. You could do all the reading. You could take all the tests. You could turn in assignments. There's no reason why you couldn't get a degree online for a vast amount of things. We also need people in the skilled trades, trade schools, right? But take stake in your country. One thing you could do is buy some property. You know, you may have heard some of the commercials talking about Sears Real Estate. Jerry is a friend of mine. If you have questions about buying or selling a home, about just real estate business in general, it's a great way to take stake in your country, to own a piece of it. Right now is actually a great time to buy. Interest rates are at record lows, artificial lows. Get some property. That's one way of taking ownership of this country, is to legitimately own it. I highly recommend. I'm buying my first home right now. It's a pretty intimidating process. I mean, I guess this is a contract written up by lawyers and bankers, right? I mean, that raises some red flags. No, contact my friend Jerry at Sears Real Estate. Get yourself a piece of property in northern Colorado. He's been in northern Colorado for 60 years. He's been doing real estate since 2005. I recently did an interview with him right here at the studio. You can find that 1360 KHNC Facebook page, facebook.com/1360 KHNC, or you can go to the Liberty Revolt Facebook page, facebook.com/Liberty Revolt. Check out the interview I did with him. Let's take some responsibility for our country. And the way we win people is through messaging. We have to fight the corrupt forces that are leveraging our media, political media, cultural media, educational media. Bucky Dillon Morning Show, KHNC.
This is Sam Shook, Navy vet and Medicare specialist. I just want to thank the KHNC listeners for their support and trust in me as their Medicare specialist. If you are currently on Plan F, we are in a window of opportunity that can save you a lot of money towards your monthly premium. Please contact me at 970